signs to tell everybody to be quiet. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, people love to get to know each other. You're like the best people in Lancaster. Don't you want to know who's on the mat next to you? So that's just not our style. What we have coming up. So I'll get these assisting cards around the room if you don't have one in front of your mat yet. When our teachers are an assisting teacher, they'll put these out. They go in front of your mat. Yes, for I would not mind being assisted. No, for I prefer not to. And change it at any point during the practice so that you can be assisted through the whole practice. Then maybe at a certain point you decide I want to work on this pose alone, for example. Also, our bingo challenge month has begun. Grab one of these sheets. There's no cost to it. Do the challenges. The rules are on the back, and you could win a yoga mat strap, a sweat towel. We've got a lot of fun little gifts for the giveaway, just a little fun to have. Now, the one piece in it to know a little bit more about is how do you get the center square? The center square is a week called Move Free, and it's the 3rd week of October, so it begins on October 23rd. And you can invite any friend who you would like to have come to yoga who's never been here before. Sign them up. There's a QR code on that square, and they have not only unlimited yoga that week, we've got a couple of special workshops they could choose to attend, and through their email, they'll be receiving a program that whole week that's much like our 40 days program, just condensed. Something about goal setting and resetting after a goal is missed. So it gives them a really nice full taste of what we do here. So look for, if you're not doing the bingo challenge, you can still invite friends for the Move Free week. Last little piece to know is we have a retreat to the Himalayan Institute. I'll be the teacher. It is December 1st through 4th. If you're interested in learning more, I'll share that with you afterwards so that we can get right down to business here today. We have a 90-minute yoga class ready to go. Are you guys all ready to start? Okay, let's get into child's pose. Toes together. Knees open, arms forward, and bring your forehead down to your mat. Once you get settled here, hips toward your heels, check your own body out. How is it feeling right now? Is it comfortable? Do you have some adjustments to make to be comfortable? We'll begin with this, some breath. Take a deep breath in. And exhale through your mouth. Now, while you're creating your breathing, be intentional because it's the physical foundation of the whole practice, your breathing. So fill up your lungs with every inhale, pause for just a beat, and then steady exhale. Experience your whole body letting go and pause in the emptiness. Keep doing that. Inhale to fill up in your back, in your sides, in your belly, and exhale. You might start to also listen for the people who are breathing around you. How we practice, we have an intention to listen for what's possible in our own body and work for that. And though also what's going on is that collectively as a whole room of people here, those practicing at home, we're creating an intentional connection. Come up just a little bit, hips off of your heels. Walk your hands a little more forward, then over to the right. Really plant your left hand. Take a breath in here and exhale, sink your hips more back to your heels, and you'll feel a stretching from your hand down the side of your body through every one of your ribs to your hips. Now be intentional in how you use your breath. Focus on your inhale with a pause and exhale with a pause, and use your breathing right now like a balloon to fill up space in the left side of your body and let go. Then bring your hips up off of your heels, walk your hands all the way over to the other side and plant your right hand down on the mat, and then sink your hips back toward your heels. You got it. Breathe in and expand your right side body, and slow, steady breathe out. Walk your hands back to the center and set them wide. Then turn your toes under, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. When you get to your downward facing dog, body in the shape of an upside down letter V, bend and straighten your knees to start experiencing how it is in your toes, your feet, your calf muscles, the backs of your knees. And then with your feet, be intentional in creating this physical foundation of this pose. Put your attention on your hands. Maybe spread your fingertips out wide. See what it is to roll the weight into the outer side of your wrist where your pinky is, and to the inner side of the wrist where your thumb is. What's the difference there? Out to your pinky, a lot of weight there. Feel a little pressure and pinching in your wrist. Over to your thumb, you might feel a little more free flow in the wrist. Set your wrists up, your hands, your palms with intentionality. Together in this pose, take a deep breath in. Open up your mouth and sigh. Now look to the front of your mat and step forward to the front of your mat. Lift up halfway so that you're stretching the whole side of your torso long, and then hang down in ragdoll pose. Ragdoll, as you're breathing here, you'll just be pressing your feet into the mat. You can press all four corners of your feet down. Even especially put attention on the knuckle, the mound of your big toe, and press it down into the mat. Then press the centers of your heels down into the mat, and see if in that pressing you feel a lifting up in the pit of your belly. Keep on breathing. As you press the mound of your big toe and the center of your heel, and you feel your belly lifting up, create a quality of a balanced action. That as your feet press it down, the pit of your belly lifts up. Then hands on your thighs. Lift up halfway. Stretch your whole body long. Stay right here and breathe. You might peek with your eyes down at your feet and line them up so that they're parallel and hip width distance. We call this true north alignment in the feet. And then pick up your 10 toes. Spread your 10 toes. Just leave them in the air right now. Breathe. And see if you can really notice the mound of your big toe pressing down. Keep on breathing with soft knees. Press the center of your heel down. Keep pressing till you feel in your hips a quality of like a heat, a fire, tapa, strength, working and building your hips. If you find yourself starting to lock your knees and just rely on pressing on your legs, get into your feet. Balance that the effort is in your feet rather than in the backs of your knees. You should really be feeling it in your hips right now. Keep breathing. Keep pressing the mound of your big toe down and lifting up in the pit of your belly. You feel that? Yes or no? Yeah? It's like unmistakable, isn't it? Take another breath and then exhale. Keep your knees bent. Fold your belly down your thighs. Some of you will bend your knees a lot and hang your head and keep on breathing with your active feet. You're just working to bring all of your attention into your feet. Take another breath here. Press your feet down and then come on up to standing all the way up. Lift your arms overhead. Look up to the ceiling, reach up to the ceiling with your fingertips, and then hands together at the center of your chest and pause. Now, while you're standing here and pausing, set your gaze on one point. While your gaze is on one point, bring your attention into your feet. Line your feet up to be parallel to one another, feet at 12 o'clock. Lift your 10 toes, spread your 10 toes just by feeling it. Press the mound of each big toe down. Press the center of each heel down, and then lift up from your pelvis to the crown of your head. There you go. Now set an intention for your practice. 3 times, let's chant Om together. You can relax your toes. Deep breath in. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold to the floor. Inhale, lift halfway. High plank to low plank as you exhale. Now inhale, lift your chest, upward facing dog. Exhale, this is downward facing dog. You've got 3 breaths. Inhale and fill up, and a long, steady exhale. 2 more like this. Breathe in and fill up. Long, smooth, steady exhale. Here's the last one. Inhale. As you exhale, bend your knees and look forward. Step or jump up to your hands. Then halfway lift. Forward fold. Press your heels down. Stand up and reach. Lift up, look up. Fold to the floor and empty. Inhale, lift halfway. Low plank by stepping or floating back. Inhale, lift your chest, strong legs. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. See if you can become aware of the whole room while you're breathing. 2 more. 1 more time. Breathe in. Exhale, bend your knees and jump. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Press your feet down. Stand up. From the center of your heel, pressing your fingers lifting. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift. Low plank. Upward facing dog. Inhale. Downward facing dog with the exhale. Now, as you take your breaths here, check back in with your hands and feet. Be intentional with how you set them up so that you have access to something more than you otherwise would have had. 1 more time. Breathe in. Exhale, bend your knees and jump. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Inhale, stand. Reach. Go back. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift. Feet still at 12 o'clock. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe. Now, how is it in your body for you right now? Are there parts that are always bothering you that are starting to light up? What could you do differently in those parts of your body? Maybe it's your shoulder. Maybe it's some other part. Create a balanced action through this next sun salutation. Let's do 1 more breath in. Breath out, bend your knees, squeeze the mat with your fingers and jump. Halfway lift, forward fold. 1 more time, stand, sun salutation A, reach, fold for the floor. Halfway lift, feet at 12 o'clock, chaturanga. Nice change there, Caitlin. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Deep breath in, full breath out. Deep breath in, and as you breathe out, just squeeze your fingertips to the mat. Now your hands are ready. Last breath in. Exhale, bend your knees and jump. Halfway lift. Forward fold, chair pose, sit into your heels. Sit right here and breathe. You might need to use your eyes to just look down at your feet and organize them that they're at 12 o'clock. For a lot of us, we just don't even realize that it's more like they're at kind of like 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock. You open your heels a little wider and then press the mound of each big toe down. You got that. Keep breathing and focusing on your feet. Lift your 10 toes and spread your 10 toes until your feet light up like they're on fire. Feel that? Yes or no? Yeah. You're like, yes, move on. Inhale, reach up, fold to the floor. Halfway lift, chaturanga, feet on fire. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward and lunge. Warrior 1. So your back foot is flat. Reach up and then bring your hands right to the floor for chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left foot step and lunge. Back foot flat. Reach up. Hands down, chaturanga. Or knees down as well in this push-up. Up dog to downward facing dog. You know, if your shoulders are bothering you, put your knees down in those push-ups. It doesn't mean you failed yoga today. I put my knees down a lot now. Fingertips open wide and squeezing the mat. Handstand hands, get ready. Breath in. Exhale, bend your knees and jump. Let's flow. Halfway lift. Fold. Feet at 12 o'clock. Chair pose. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift. Feet still at 12 o'clock. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right foot lunge. Reach up. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. It's going to get a little messy here. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot step and lunge. Inhale, reach. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. So we've gotten to try some things on here. Breathe. Feel how it is in your own body. We're working from the foundation today with our feet to see if we can access something more by putting attention on our feet. Feet at 12 o'clock. Lift your 10 toes, spread your 10 toes out on the mat. Imagine the center of each heel is pressing down. Let's get ready to go. Deep breath in. Exhale, bend your knees and jump. Halfway lift, fold. Here we go together. Chair pose, sit and reach. Fold to the floor. Halfway lift, chaturanga. Take your time. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, lunge, and anchor the back edge of your back foot as you reach. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot forward. Anchor your back foot before you go. Hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Yep, breath by breath, we'll get anchored into our feet, and that will give us an opportunity to be present right here in our own bodies. Our practice is in the type of yoga called Vinyasa and the style called Baptiste yoga. It is a journey into power, tapping into our own powerfulness by getting present. Take a deep breath in. Exhale and jump to the front of your mat. Halfway lift, forward fold. Chair pose, sit and reach. Fold to the floor and empty. Halfway lift, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, right foot forward, lunge. Inhale, lift up, reach. Chaturanga, steady, empty, low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot forward, lunge. Inhale, lift up, reach, pause. Chaturanga, slow and steady, empty. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. You got this. Maybe take a couple of sighs. We're going to go for one more round of this sun salutation B, an opportunity to awaken into what is possible this morning. Let's do this. Take another deep breath in. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, and jump. Halfway lift and fold. Chair pose, sit and reach. Just wait for it. Fold. Pause here. Halfway lift. Chaturanga. Wait for it. Upward facing dog. Pause. Downward facing dog. Right foot forward, lunge. Inhale, reach, hold this. Chaturanga. Empty, empty, steady. Inhale, go up. Exhale, go back. Left foot step and lunge. Get the whole pose, reach and pause. Chaturanga, empty. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. It's just a breathing exercise. Now raise your right leg into the air behind you. Bend your knee and bring your heel to your hip and turn your hip open. Breathe right here. Just fill up the whole right side of your body. You can press your right hand down into the mat. Lift your right knee up toward the ceiling and stretch through the whole right side of your body. Take another breath and then keep your left hand on the mat. Flip your right foot over, flip dog. You can also access this pose by turning around on your bum, left hand on the ground, feet on the floor. Yeah, just like that. And either stay seated here at first or press your feet into the ground and lift your hips off the floor. Another breath here. Then we move to side plank. So your right hand goes on the mat. You face the long left side of your mat and stack your body up. And there are many variations available here. You can bring your bottom knee to the ground, for example, if you need just a little less intensity in the pose. You want to moderate the intensity, you can step your top foot forward. Right into the center of the pose, 2 feet together. You're feeling like you need a whole lot more, lift your top leg up. And then if you're like, give it to me, bring your bottom knee up to your chest. Take another breath, high plank to low. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. One breath in, open up your mouth, sigh, and just clean the slate. Left leg in the air. Watch the wall behind you if you're close to a wall. I want you to hurt your foot. Bend your knee and bring your heel to your hip and turn your hips open. Now get this stretch. Just melt your left hand, especially the knuckle of your pointer finger and your fingertips down into the mat. Reach your left knee up into the air. Now breathe through the whole left side of your rib cage. Get ready to flip. Right hand stays on the mat. Flip your top foot over. If your shoulder's hurting, sit your hips on the floor. See what's possible in your body now that you're here. Start with your feet. Press the four corners of each foot down into the mat, and from there, lift up. One more breath. Side plank. Bring your left hand to the mat. Face the long right side of your mat. Stack your body up. You can use your feet to get present even when they're not just standing on the floor right here. You could imagine a wall at the foot of your mat that you're pressing all four corners of your feet into. When you feel like your feet are anchored, you get this opportunity to lift up from your pelvis all the way through to your crown. Can you find that? Tap into that. One more breath. High plank to low. Upward facing dog. Good work. Downward facing dog. Now step your right foot forward for crescent lunge. Arms overhead. Once you get your drishti set through your felt sense, doesn't always happen through your eyes, in your back foot, put some weight over to the baby toe side so your hips turn directly square to the front of your mat. Then lunge down. See if you can lunge down until your thigh is parallel to the floor and you feel a lot of stretching in the front of your left hip. Once you have that, you have your back foot. Like you could imagine your back foot is pressing into a wall right now. Then powerful back leg. From your pelvis to your crown, lift up and go back. From your foot to your pelvis to the crown, lift up and go back. That's it, Colin. You've one more breath. Hands to prayer and twist. Left elbow to your right knee. Anchor it there. Keep your back foot active. It's the steering wheel of the whole pose. You can open your arms, reach for the floor, reach for the ceiling. Now see if you can tap in and become aware of, from your back foot, like it's pressing into the ground, all the way from the pelvis up to the crown, a lifting up to the crown. 2 more breaths. Inhale, body long. Exhale, twist. One more. Inhale, body long. Exhale, twist, crescent lunge. Stand right up, set your gaze. Warrior 2, open to the left. Who knew Warrior 2 would be the rest? Come into your feet. You might even have to look down and check out your front foot to just ensure your toes are pointing in the same direction as your knee. Sometimes the tendency is for the toes to be a little wider. Wrap your right thigh bone open and bend your knee. That's it, Greg. Pull the pit of your belly into your body and lift it up to your chin. You got this. Feel your back thigh now? Okay, good. Reverse warrior. Turn your front palm up and reach. Just stretch through the whole side of your body. Lift up. Straighten your front leg. Stretch up and back. Warrior 2, extended side angle. You reach for the floor and reach for the ceiling. So you bend your right knee, reach for the floor, reach for the ceiling. The whole practice is balancing of effort and ease. So there was an effort in the last pose that gets to relax in this pose, while what relaxed in the last pose is working in this pose. You tap into it that way. It gives your mind ease to feel and see that rhythm happening. Now, before we go anywhere, lunge a little bit deeper and then lift your chest up to the ceiling, your gaze up to the ceiling. That's it. Last breath, hands to the floor for chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Let's do the left side. Step your left foot forward to crescent lunge. Arms overhead and set your gaze. Just did some movement. Now we'll get a chance to steady ourselves. You got a sense of the back foot on the last round. In your back foot, if you lunge down a little bit further forward, if I'm a little bit lunged, my heel kind of hangs behind my toes. If I'm a lot lunged, it stacks right on top of my toes so I can get the sense of the feeling of a wall right behind it. And then if my foot is anchored on a wall, I can lift up and go back. So I would encourage to bend your knee up into your front toes. And then from your back foot, go up and go back. That's it. One more breath. Hands to prayer and twist. Right elbow to your left knee. Keep your breath flowing. Your breath is the foundation to the whole practice, so be intentional. And sometimes I'll help you bring your attention back to it. Whether you're working with a knee down or your knee up, inhale, stretch your side body long, and exhale and twist. You got it. Inhale from your back foot up to your head long. Exhale and twist. We'll do one more. Breath and twist. Crescent lunge. Warrior two. Set your gaze. Check in with your breathing. Point your front foot's toes forward. Bend your knee. And then if you're ready for something more, take a longer stride. Little more length between your feet. And in your back foot, press the knuckle of your big toe down. Lift your heel up and move it more to the back of your mat. That's it. And then press the center of each heel down. You got it. Lunge deep. In this deep lunge, flip your front palm up. Stay in your deep lunge. Reverse the warrior. The whole side of your body. Just breathe into it. Then you can straighten your legs. Stretch up and stretch back. Warrior two. Set your gaze. Set your breath. Tilt. Extended side angle. Deep, deep knee bend. Yep, you can reach down and put your fingertips on a block. Take it a little longer, John. Go a little longer. Bring this foot up here. Keep that one back there. That's it. 2 more breaths. Deep, deep lunges. Lift your chest. Turn it to the ceiling. That's it, Greg. Turn it to the ceiling. Strong belly. Hands to the floor for chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a breath, a full breath, and have a sigh. One more time, inhale. When you exhale, bend your knees, jump up to your hands. Half lift, forward fold. Now feet at 12 o'clock. Chair pose, sit back and reach your arms up and double check. Feet at 12 o'clock. Bring your palms to the center of your chest and twist. Left elbow to your right knee. So be turning toward the right side of your mat. That's it. Bend your right knee a lot. That's it. Now, once you're here, sit your hips back. Let them become a sort of foundation in the pose, like they're sitting on a wall behind you. And you just stretch your whole body long away from that wall that you're sitting on. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, twist. One more. Inhale, stretch long. Exhale, twist. Now come to chair pose. Forward fold. Hook your big toes with your middle and index fingers and stretch down. You worked really hard in the chair pose. That's a lot of work for a lot of people. Now you get relief in that part of your body. We call that balanced action, a balance between effort and ease. Create sukha sthira. You may even find here that you would like to really be more intentional with your foundation and just set your feet a little wider. A little something more sturdy to stand on. Complete this rest with a sigh. Take your next breath and then sigh and be ready to go. Chair pose, feet at 12 o'clock. Hands to prayer and twist. Now the opposite of what you did last time, right elbow, left knee for most of you. You'll need your breathing, so really bring your breathing. Be intentional with noticing where your breathing is able to bring sensation in your body while you're in this pose. See if you can stretch long through your back right ribs as you breathe. Work with your breath. Take one more breath in. Twist as you exhale. Reach up to chair pose and forward fold. gorilla pose. So your feet hip width distance, and at 12 o'clock, then slide your palms under your feet. Now take your attention to your feet and feel how it is in your feet right now as you breathe and rest. You can let your head hang down long. When our feet are in true north alignment, there's some extra attention on bringing pressure down in the mound of the big toe. So it's like the knuckle, the foot part of the big toe. Press that part down right now. Maybe if it wasn't what was pressing down and you added that it was pressing down, maybe you start to see that it has an impact in opening up your lower back by just pressing down the knuckle of your big toe. We'll take crow pose next. So you'll need your handstand hands like they're set up as a handstand. So spread your fingers out, squeeze them out with your fingertips. Then your legs in a diamond shape. So the feet together at the center, touching, the big toe mound, the inside of the heel touching. Tilt forward and just rest your knees on your outer arms. See how it is to put weight into your wrist and your fingertips. This might be enough of the pose right here today to get the sense of the weight being shifted from your palm toward your fingertip. Of course, there are many other variations you can take, and you can work to feel your hands as foundation. A little more weight for some in your fingertips, and see if you can pick your feet up off the floor. Whatever you're doing, it's 3 more breaths. You got it, Janessa. Yep. Just weight into your fingertips. See what that feels like. And maybe one foot picks up. You could try one foot, John. Yeah. Try 2 feet maybe. From wherever you are, chaturanga, that's the low push-up. Upward facing dog comes next. Lift up, look up, downward facing dog. Deep breath in, full exhale. One more time, breathe in. Exhale, bend your knees and jump up to your hands. Half lift, forward fold. Press your feet into the ground, come rolling up to standing and sweep your arms overhead. Right side eagle pose. You wrap your right arm under your left, cross your forearms. So, yep. And maybe you hug your elbows down. Maybe you can bring them up to about shoulder height and press your fingertips away from you. Squat down. You can wrap your right thigh over your left thigh and maybe tuck your toes behind your calf muscle. You may just be working in the chair pose for today. That's it. Now bend the standing knee too. Yeah. Got gaze on just one point and breathe. One more breath here. Step out. Sweep your arms overhead and stretch up. We'll do the other side. Left arm under. Cross at the upper arm. Twist the forearms. Squat down. Left leg over the right leg. That's it. Exactly. Eyes on one spot. You got that. Steady. Feel what it feels like in the pose to just breathe. Next inhale, step out, sweep your arms overhead. We'll take a second set. Right arm under, squat, right leg over. The pose is a point in the practice, but the spaces between the pose are also part of the practice. Keep your gaze and breath so you have that intentionality, that foundation to the practice, and step out. Sweep your arms overhead, keep your gaze and breath. Left side, left arm under, squat, left leg over. Steady breathing. That's it. Pick a still point in the room, put your attention there, and breathe. And then experience whatever there is to experience right now in this space, in this pose. Step out, arms overhead. Keep your gaze and your breath. Hug your right knee into your chest. Feel how it is in your standing foot. Do you feel the mound of the big toe pressing down? From this pose, try lifting your 10 toes and spreading your 10 toes. Keep that as you hold your knee or hold your right foot with your hand or a strap and extend your knee. I would encourage you to extend the knee if you can. You may take a strap around the ball of your foot to help you extend the knee. Press the mound of your standing big toe down into the mat and of your lifting big toe in the imaginary wall in front of you. One more breath, and on the exhale, toes a little higher. Hug your knee into your chest. Get steady, steady gaze. Keep your 10 toes lifting. Mound of your big toe pressing down. Do you feel that on the floor? And now go, airplane pose. Keep connected to the mound of your big toe on the ground. See if you can sense the mound of your big toe that's in the air as though it's pressing on the wall behind you. You'll need your imagination for that. Breathe. Hands for prayer position. Pause and press them together. Half moon. Left arm down, right arm up. Steady breath. Press the mound of each big toe down. You'll have to imagine it on the lifting foot. If you'd like on the lifting leg, you can bend your knee and catch your ankle for sugarcane. Stay with the pose. You've got this. 3 more breaths. You got it. 2 more. Eyes on one spot. Last breath. Forward fold and hang. If you need your strap, grab it. Come up to standing. We'll take the left side. Hug your knee into your chest. Eyes on one point and steady breath. Get into your feet. Bring your attention into your feet. Where your feet go, that's where your energy flows. It shows your direction. And then extend the knee with the strap or hold your foot. Breathe. That's it. Steady breath. And then if you ever do lose your breath, you fall out of the pose, know that you can start again from right here. Easy shoulders. Now toes up another inch higher. Stay here. You got your feet. You can feel your feet. You have your attention in your feet. Hug your knee into your chest. Still attention in your feet. And open up. Airplane. To hold the balancing pose, you'll need your steady breath and your attention on one spot. But then from your center out to the periphery, you reach. As though you're pressing your big toes into the wall behind and into the floor below. Hands to prayer. Half moon. Right hand to the blocker floor. You got it. You're right there, Janessa. Reach up to the ceiling. And then wake up your lifted foot. There you go. Stretch. Yes. 3 more breaths. You've got this. Finish the last one. Forward fold and hang. Nice work. Sway from side to side. Let's come up to standing for the standing bow pose. So feet on 12 o'clock. Take your right arm behind you. Right arm bone back. Roll your arm open, palm facing out. Then bend your knee. Hold your ankle from the inside. Start with your knees down. Left arm in the air and stretch. I'm stretching my right knee down, my left fingertips up. Now lift your 10 toes and spread your 10 toes and keep that. Stretch into the pose. If you find it's difficult to reach the foot behind you, you could always use your strap and just hold on to it like this. Lift your 10 toes, spread your 10 toes, press the mound of each big toe down. Press the center of each heel, then lift up. Good, step out of it. Really nice. Feet on the floor, maybe hands on your hips for a second or over your chest, your heart. Get settled and breathe. Let's do the second side. Left arm bone back. Roll your forearm open. Bend your knee, hold your ankle from the inside. Stretch. So the invitation's still there. Press the mound of each big toe down. So you'll feel one like it's pressing into the ceiling, one into the floor. Lift the 10 toes. Spread the 10 toes. Try that. One more breath. Step out. Good work. Feet on the floor. Let your feet just land on the ground. You can shift your weight maybe from side to side. We'll do a second set. Right arm bone back. Roll your forearm open. Bend your knee, hold your ankle from the inside. It's a tricky grip. Feel how it spun, Wendy? So it did this. Keep it back. Such a tricky one to get. Feel a difference in your shoulder? Yep, there you go. When you press the mound of your standing big toe down, it unlocks the back of your standing knee. Just a micro bend. If you can bring the micro bend in, do you feel how all of a sudden a new energy starts to flow? One more breath. Step out. 2 feet on the ground, feet at 12 o'clock. Left arm bone back. Roll your forearm open. Bend your knee, hold your ankle from the inside, roll it open. Yeah. Left side. So we want your shoulder rolling open, like yes. You can always use the wall too. You could take your front fingertips onto a wall in front of you. Keep on breathing. Leslie, I'm going to just change your grip. Spin open. You can hold on the outside. And come on out of the pose. Feet on the floor. Front of your mats, we'll take tree pose now. How is it in your body right now? For me, usually my heart is pounding. I'm like looking for some breath. The next pose will help settle that. Stand on your left foot. Put the sole of your right foot on your left inner thigh or on your inner shin and squeeze from your leg into your foot and your foot into your leg. You could even note the ball of your big toe pressing here into your thigh. Hands to prayer position and breathe. Let your body settle. Once your body has settled, interlace your fingers and press your palms forward and take your hands overhead and press your palms up into the ceiling above you. From your standing big toe mound pressing down, your standing center of the heel pressing down into the ground, and then from your pelvis to the crown of your head to your palms, you lift up to the ceiling. One more breath. Step out and switch sides. Right foot down, left foot up. So whatever is in your mind, in your body, you always start again. Set up your foot. Set up your other foot. Hands together, get settled, get grounded. When you're ready, when you interlace your fingers, interlace with the other baby fingers on the outside. So I always put my right baby finger on the outside. Now do it with your opposite. For me, it's the left. Press your forearms forward. You'll feel some stretching from your elbow, down your outer forearm, through your wrist, and take your arms overhead. Standing big toe down, you got that. Press up. One more breath. Step out, come to the front of your mat. Once you're at the front, inhale, sweep your arms overhead, fold to the floor as you exhale. Lift up halfway, chaturanga on the exhale. Upward facing dog, roll over your toes. Downward facing dog, right side triangle. Step your right foot inside of your right hand. Turn your back foot flat. Now 2 straight legs. Definitely do this pose today with your 10 toes lifting and spreading so you can really feel the mound of your big toe and the center of your heel pressing down. Once you have your feet like that, right hand on a block or the floor, open up your left arm. Breathe. So this is a pose where you could take your feet really long apart. Yeah, take the real long stride. That's it, Shanae. Just put your hand on that block. Yep. Amazing. Try to straighten your front leg, not to locked, but so that you feel this quality of a connection from your big toe mound, the front foot. Press that down. Just keep pressing this. But lift your toes up and soften your toes. So the big toe mound is the connection. There you go. You feel that in your bodies when your big toe mound is connected? Okay, come on up to standing. Face the long left side of your mat. Hands to your hips. Feet parallel to the short sides of your mat. Lift your chest up. Forward fold all the way down. Walk your fingertips in front of you until it's just your fingertips on the mat connecting. Then take a breath. And as you exhale, ease your hips back behind your heels. So from your fingertips all the way through every one of your ribs to your hips, you feel a stretching. So you want your fingers far in front of you, as far as they'll go. So like you're reaching for it with your fingers. The settling of your hips back just adds stretch, like we did in the child's pose at the very beginning. Breathe and use your breath to expand your side ribs, to expand the area of your back lower ribs. Feel what it feels like to breathe your whole lung capacity. One more breath. Come on up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat. Standing single leg forward fold. Feet hip width distance. Right one forward. Back one at any angle that feels good in your body. Take your hands either around behind your back in reverse, namaste, or interlace them and create a bind. Then lift your chest up. Lift your 10 toes up. Forward fold. Keep your 10 toes in the air. Go longer with your stride. Yep, and a little more width. There you go. We're looking for that your front foot feels so plugged into the ground. And that same side of your body, your right side, your sitting bone feels like it's reaching up and back and into the wall behind you. Is the whole of your front leg, the back of it, feeling like on fire, lighting up, warming up? Okay, we're looking for that. Keep your legs as you have them where you feel that fire. Gently rest your left fingertips on a block or the floor under your left shoulder. Left fingertips on the block. Keep your hips as they are, and then turn your body toward the right and reach to the ceiling. Yep. So weight evenly in your back foot as much as your front foot. Feel how it's all the way into your right hip now, Charlie? Here, can you relax a little bit? The weight into your back leg. It looks like this. Let me show it to you. Breathe. I'm looking for this. One more breath. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left side, step forward. Warrior one. Or sorry, triangle. Triangle. In triangle, if I normally take kind of a smaller step for my warrior, I could go really long. A lot of space. Fingertips on the block or floor. 10 toes in the air. Stretch. Steady, steady breath. Press the mound of your front foot, big toe down. Pull to the pit of the belly in. Lift the front of your pelvis up toward your chin. One more breath. Come on up to standing. Face the long right side of your mat now. Check out your feet, that they're parallel to the short sides. This would be the 12 o'clock. So now the clock faces this way, your feet face 12 o'clock. Hands behind you, interlace, or use a strap or a towel to hold hands. Chest up and forward fold. Now let your hands, your bound hands, spill overhead toward the floor. If you feel like they won't leave your back, that's a good indicator to grab a strap. Hold on to the strap. Set your hands wide enough. Keep going, Janessa. That they fall overhead. Here you go, John. Get a little cramp? Oh. Now try this out, that you're in this pose. You've got it all right and stay as you are. But right here, lift your 10 toes and spread your 10 toes and press the mound of each big toe down. Press the center of each heel down. You might need to, some of you that have locked knees, to soften your knees to make that happen. Can you feel that difference? Hands to your low back. Come on up to standing. Turn to face the front of your mat. Standing single leg forward fold. Left leg is forward. 10 toes in the air. Lift them and spread them and keep them there for now. And forward fold. Normally you'd let them just soften down to the floor, and I'm sure as you get settled in the pose you will, but I'm asking for the lift of them right now so you really get this powerful connection to your feet. A very intentional setting up of your physical foundation. Now, you may notice when you're so intentional with your feet, you have access to being up to something bigger than yourself. What would that be? It may be that you now have access to stretching your torso longer than you otherwise had. That's it, Damien. Twisting triangle, right hand on your block or the floor. Keep the action in your foundation. You can get long, the length that you just discovered, and then twist. The twist just plays on the length. 3 breaths. Inhale, body long. Exhale, twist. 2 more. Body long and twist. You have this. Body long, twist, hands to the floor, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, just stretch back. Yes, soften your knees, pull your hips up and back and stretch from your hands to your hips. Then come to a high plank and lower down to your belly on the mat. Keep your toes turned under the way they just were as you came down in this chaturanga. So turned under, knees active, and then scooch your chest and your ribs a little more forward. Super active legs. Then just reach your arms to the side and lift up a little bit with your chest and shoulders and head. Breathe. Now, as you're holding this pose, just imagine that your feet are pressing into a wall behind you. So from here, press the mound of each big toe down. Press the center of each heel down. Press into my hands, Nikki. Yes, breathe. And you imagine hands are on the soles of your foot too, and you breathe. Stay with it. What's new when you have a foundation in the pose? Relax. Shake your hips from side to side. What did you feel? Let's do a second set. Set your toes up, toes turned under, feet pressing back into the imaginary wall behind you. Arms wide and lift up. So press the mound of each big toe down, like into the imaginary wall at the back of your mat. Press the center of each heel down. You got that in your feet? Now from the pelvis to the crown, lift up into the crown of your head. That's not high back to the ceiling. That's from the heels down, the head in the opposite direction. Come on down. Shake your hips from side to side. Floor bow pose, we'll either do 2 sets or you'll do one side at a time. So bend your knees, reach back with your right hand and hold your right ankle, or with 2 hands, hold 2 ankles. If you're holding your right ankle, your left arm can be forward, bent or straight. Your left toes can be turned under. You can also lasso your right ankle with your right hand. Then 2 feet or 1, whatever you have, kick back. So your legs drag you up and back on one side or both. Yeah, that works. The foot that's kicking in the air, or the 2 feet that are kicking in the air, press the mound of each big toe up into the ceiling. One more breath. Come on down. Shake your feet from side to side. Opposite side if you're doing one side at a time. Or second set. Bend your knees, reach back and hold your ankles. Now balance the effort with the ease here. So there's a kicking from the leg, but a letting go from the shoulder. Let me see what you got going on here. I see. Feel that difference? Knees only hip width distance if you can. If your knees got really wide, leave them where they are, but feel how it is right now in your lower back. Just from the legs, yeah. So the effort's in the legs, the ease is in the arms. Okay, come down. Every now and then there's just a mutiny. Feet side to side. Put your hands on the floor beside your bottom ribs and lift into your upward facing dog. Baby, not so high. Move to your downward facing dog. Knees on the ground for camel pose. Your hands go on your butt. They don't go in your lower back. They go on your hips, like they're deep in back pockets. You can turn your toes under, and with your hands, just guide the back of your pelvis down, your knees down. When your knees take on the foundation, they're pressing down with your tailbone. You lift up through your quads, through your pelvis, through your belly, through your chest up. See if you can balance the action while your knees press down, your chest lifts up. They should have an equal and opposite quality. You got that, Jody. It's nice and long and lean, just like you set it up. Nice, Nikia. Keep lifting through your ribs a little more, Nikki. Next inhale, lift your chest up and out of the pose. Hands to the floor, stretch back in downward facing dog. We get a second set. You can take camel pose or move it into hero pose. Hero pose, knees go together, feet open wide. You can put the weight into your hands, sit on a block, or sit your hips on the ground. What we don't want to have happen is that your knees lift up. If you have your knees are lifting, you're a little too far in the pose. They can open, but not wider than your hips. We want the stretch down the quad and in the knees and through the ankle. You might find yourself taking a block pretty tall and just sitting on it here, maybe even putting some weight into your hands. How's your knee doing there, Colin? Okay. Keep lifting the front of your pelvis up if you can. Breathe. So it's right in through here, Adam, right there. Yes, feel the difference? Come up out of the pose, hands to the floor, downward facing dog. And then sometimes you've been off for a little while. Jump through your hands, sit down, and roll onto your back. All the way onto your back. We'll take bridge pose. So lie down on your back, bend your knees, set your ankles up under your knees, and hip width distance. Before we go anywhere, just let your feet sink into the ground. One of the ways we can establish and feel our feet as a foundation is to imagine you're beside the ocean and the water's coming in and going across your feet and receding. That feeling you feel when your feet sink down into the sand, let that be the feeling you have right now. And then a quality of you're going to scoop the sand together between your ankles. That's imagery Debbie always creates, and it's so effective. Press your feet down into the ground and lift your hips up into the air. You got that. While you're in this bridge pose, lift your 10 toes, keep them in the air, and spread your 10 toes. Keep that. Keep on breathing. Now, press the center of your heels down. Breathe and feel your feet. How's that feel? Can you feel your inner thighs lighting up too? Maybe you can sense your pelvic floor lifting all the way through your body, all the way up to your crown. If you can't feel that, that's a whole powerfulness in your wheel pose that helps you do the pose. Come on down out of the pose. We'll give a little something more at stake, knees side to side. Second bridge, set it up and go. All the way up, hips up in the air. And then let your feet sink down into the ground. You'll feel a hugging in. Hug, John. Yeah, gently, yep. Just like that. Hug, just a little hugging, yep. Keep your feet where you have them. Let them really sink. Bring your right knee into your chest without moving your left foot. Yeah, hold that and breathe. So can you still feel your standing foot sinking into the sand and the scooping in quality? Just breathe. Put your right foot on the floor. Come on down. Knees side to side. Don't you love this little exercise? She's new and she knows the right answer. Press down, come on up. So let your knuckles of your big toes sink down. And then lift and spread your 10 toes. Keep that. Now, lift your left knee up into the air, just all the way up toward your chest. So you want to keep your feet active, and like your knees are hugging into the center line. Hug. You got it. That's it. Keep breathing. That's it, Janessa. Hug, hug. There's your core. Hug, foot down, come down, breathe. Okay, you know what you have right now? You've built a foundation in your pelvis with all that action in your feet. The back of your lower back's open, so you're not going to end these back bends with your lower back pinching and thinking, I went to yoga for my back to feel better and now it hurts. Get set up. Get your feet set up. Come up into your bridge pose. Now, some of you will stay working with your bridge. Others are going to put your hands on the floor and set them wide. And imagine your thumb is like pressing the knuckle of your big toe down. Press your thumb knuckle down and your big toe knuckle down. Lift up into the wheel. Once you get into the wheel, just keep letting your hand on the thumb side sink into the sand, and on the big toe side, sink into the sand. Get that sensation. Come on down. Knees side to side. Okay, we're ready to roll here. Second one, hands, feet on the floor, press down, rise up. You might be in the bridge. Some of you are taking the wheel all the way up. Concentrate on the knuckle of your big toe and the thumb knuckle sinking. Come on down, knees side to side. Some of you are really getting your feet. You're feeling that, Nikki. That will be what leads to the bigger back bend, standing up, kicking through the back walk over to the handstand. Let's give it another try. See what you can find in your foundation. Hands, feet on the floor, breath, drishti, press down, lift up. Once you feel like you really have your feet, don't move either one of them. Bring your right knee into your chest. Yep, just knee into your chest. Yep, just knee into your chest. Foot on the floor, come on down. Now, hopefully in the wheel, that felt more sturdy than just lifting it in the air sometimes. Second side. Let's take the next wheel. Get your feet, come into the wheel, left knee into your chest without moving your standing foot if you can. Give it a sense. Give it a try. Oh, you have it, Damien. Hug right here. So this bend, you're hugging like this. Hug there. And the bottom knee if I could reach it. Yes, like that. Feel it? Okay, come on down. Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of your feet together, knees out. All that powerful, deep core strength that you have been developing. Can you feel your inner thighs? We've been using them the whole practice from your feet, the action of your feet. Now they get to stretch. Deep core muscles build a deep inner fire. Bring the sweat. Different than if we were just working from the periphery. Hug your knees into your chest for dead bug pose. So you'll pull the outer edges of your feet back towards your shoulders. This opens up your lower back. You can hold behind your thighs too if that's more comfortable than holding your feet. And rock from side to side. Feel how it is in your lower back when you rock. Okay, we're going to tap into your deep core now. Hug your knees into your chest. If you have a block, and you don't have to have a block for this, hug your block between the arches of your feet. So it'll look like this. You're going to be just hugging your block like this, except you'll be on your back. Knees or shins parallel to the floor and curl up. When you're curled up, you want to feel your entire lower back on the ground. So I'm stretching as long as I can through my neck, and I'm squeezing my arches together. Now breathe in, blow out, and reach more to the wall in front of you. Breathe in and pulse as you exhale. It won't be a big movement. We're not looking for your lower back to ever leave the floor. Do it 5 times, 4 times, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees into your chest. Now, how was it? Did your lower back have to arch and press back down again, or were you able to keep it down? We're using their very deepest front core muscles sinking down. Take 2 legs in the air, hugging your block. Now, if you have your block, you be careful while we're doing this. I have to sometimes stretch my ribs out of my pelvis to curl up. So now I've got this inner light hugging the block. I can feel my whole lower back on the floor. I can reach this way, reach for my ankles or for my toes. Inhale, blow out, try to touch your toes or reach forward wherever you're reaching. Just like that, 5 times. Yes, deepening the belly, lower back on the mat the whole time. Finish your last ones. Hug your knees into your chest. Okay, remove the block. We're going to put all that to the test now. 2 legs up in the air. The right leg can lower. Now, the degree to which it lowers depends on you. If in lowering your foot, your belly muscles hike up and your lower back arches, your foot is too low. You can also work with your knee soft and your heel gently on the ground. We want your entire lower back on the floor, and then you're pulsing 10 times. You should not feel that any part of your lower back is off of the ground. Pulse 10 times. It takes something unusual in your abdominal muscles to hold that hanging leg without arching your back. Do you feel that? Hug your knees into your chest. So we're not just looking for you to do a ton of pulses here. We're looking for you to find this core strength. Let's do the other side. So right leg in the air, left leg hovering or gently touching the ground. Curl up. Now your whole lower back melted on the floor and keep that. Pulse 10 times. Both sides of your lower back evenly on the mat. 10 pulses. Deep, deep core strength. Hug your knees into your chest. Ring it all out with yogi bicycles. Shins parallel to the floor, fingertips behind your ears. Right elbow, left knee. Switch back and forth. Go. 100, 99, 98, 97. Keep going. I'm serious. 96, 95, 94. Keep going. 93, 92, 91, 90, 89, 88, 87, 86, 85, 84, 83, 82, 81, 80, 79, 78, 77, 76, 75, 4, 73, 72, 71, 70, 69, 68, 67, 66, 65, 64, 63, 62, 61, 60, 59, 58, 57, 56, 55, 54, 53, 52, 51, 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 1. Stretch your body long. You didn't know I could count that fast. We'll work up to that. Hug your knees into your chest and rock head to tail a bunch of times and through to downward facing dog. We'll take right side pigeon pose. So bring your right knee to the mat near your right wrist. Your thigh, that should be parallel to the long side of your mat. Put a block or something under your hip where you feel you need it so that there's something supporting it. The accelerator on this pose is how square your shin is to the front of your mat. What we don't want to see is that your knee is out at an angle or you're sitting over on your right hip. What we do want to see is from the bird's eye view, the two sides of your pelvis are level. Yes, that looks good. You both might find you like the pose a little bit better when there's a block right here. There you go, John. That's it, Janessa. Yeah, that's perfect. Steady breathing. A gaze that's fixed but soft. Just by setting your eyes on one point, you're setting up an intentional foundation for the practice, for this pose in this practice. You looking for that right there? Mm-hmm. Be intentional in holding your drishti, in creating your breath. The practice viewed as one entire piece has a balance of effort and ease. A lot of effort in the beginning physically, because it's easier to get our attention into ourselves with a lot of physical effort. Here in the end, your body's just giving you some pinpoint attention. Like you've got a spot probably right now on your hip that's really a focus point. Not so much movement to draw your attention in because you're trained now. You've trained yourself for the last hour or so. And then we balance through our life the desire to be completely in and fully aware and very present with when we want to daydream, when we'd like to go off and be creative in our thinking. It's not right to always be present, but we want to have access to it. Now, with as little effort as possible, just put your hands on the floor and switch sides. See if as you add this movement, you can maintain the foundation of your attention. With your right hand, you could capture your right ankle and fold forward, bringing your right ankle along with you. I always find that this is the point where I know I did a good thing for myself today. This one yours, Nikia? I think it is. This might help you right there. Then one of the foundational texts of yoga that's thousands of years old is called the Yoga Sutras. And when we're working with this concept of balanced action, it's a create sthira sukha, it's a balance of the actions. That's one of the only of the 108 Yoga Sutras that even references the physical practice. There are 8 limbs of yoga. One of them is asana, the poses. Another one of them is pranayama, breath. And really this vinyasa type of yoga is on the pranayama limb. It's a breathing exercise that we come here to do. Might give you some different perspective in how you approach creating every pose. Now sit onto your left hip, swing your right leg around for double pigeon. Be creative here by listening into your own body. So some of us, we'll sit up on something a little heightened, block or folded up towel. We're all looking to bend our knees. So like you sat on the carpet in kindergarten and crisscross applesauce, that's a beginning stage of this. For some, it looks like this. We're looking right now to stack the shins and flex the feet. We also then have to see where we are. So maybe there's some protection needed for the knee on the ground. In any variation of the pose, we're putting some energy into lifting up. So we've learned through the practice today that to get to lifting up, we could access it through the mounds of each big toe and the center of each heel. So flex your feet and lift your 10 toes. So that just looks like I'm making my toes active and spreading them. And it's giving me access to more lift up from the pelvis to my crown. So from your mat, create that you are experiencing lifting up from the pelvis to the crown. Yes, I see that happening. And if in lifting up there's more, you could be leaning forward, but the lifting up is what we're looking for. The leaning forward is just to emphasize the lifting up in bodies that have a little more flexibility. They haven't like won the yoga pot of gold because they can fold over. It's they just had to do a little more work to get to it. You're just efficient, John. You have an efficient yoga practice. Switch sides. Right foot, leg down, left leg up. And then treat this side like it's a whole different body. See what it needs. In our style of yoga, we have our methodology. You see some small pieces of it on posters on the wall as just an inspiration to our practice. And though, they do come from the Yoga Sutras and they do come from the 8 limbs of yoga. That's some of the stuff we learn more about on a retreat, like to our Himalayan Institute retreat. They'll bring their deep study of that knowledge to us. Every breath, see how it is in your own body. Just breath by breath, be present to making the foundation and seeing what's possible. It'll change breath by breath. So maybe you could reactivate your feet, like flex your ankles and wake up your toes, and you might find, I can sit up even a little higher. And then when you check in on the next breath, awesome, Charlie. It's a great lift up you've got going there. Nice. Try this. Take a breath, have a sigh, bring a little more ease, and then see how it is, what else there is for you in the pose. Next pose is frog pose. You can do 3 different variations. Traditional is a knee on your mat, a knee off your mat, so your knee will slide, and 90-degree angles in your ankles, knees, and hips. If that's just like crushing on your knee bone, so try this if you can. You also can go to a wall where you're shin distance away from the wall, your feet are on the wall, and you're letting gravity do some of the work. Last, you could be seated in a wide leg forward fold with your toes and knees pointing to the ceiling, elevating your hips like sitting up on a block, then softening your knees. That could be really nice in that wide leg forward fold. Take any variation you want. You're welcome to go to a wall. At home, that's easy. The whole wall is your own. If you're at the wall, your hips should be the length of your shins away from the wall. You might be able to fit in there, Janesa. Yeah, just come off your mat. Or Janesa, if you don't fit there, you could just come right here too. Okay. Now check it out. If you're in the frog, you have the 90 degrees wherever it needs to be, on your back or belly down. Now from whichever variation you're in, feet on 12 o'clock. So if it's the wide leg forward fold, you're just imagining your feet are standing on a wall. Press the mound of each big toe down. Press the center of each heel down. And feel how it gives you the lift up from your pelvis to your crown. Gives you a little more access there. It's kind of cool like that. Yeah. I'm going to take this here. This one here. If you're doing frog belly down, imagine if you pressed your feet into an imaginary wall. You could take the belly down with your feet against a straight wall, not a curved wall. And feel the pressure of your big toe and your heel, how that gives you lift up from the pelvis to the crown. You feel that, Nikia? Yeah, it's kind of cool like that. As you evolve in your practice, you start to realize what you're doing is harnessing lots of different energy instead of always just bringing it yourself, always just bringing it through your muscle strength. And then we learn to breathe through that because that's a challenge to our breathing. We learn to just breathe through that. And then what happens is we have presence of mind in a stressful situation. Come on out of the pose, feet together, slide forward or push away from the wall, maybe a bit of an upward dog, and come to your mat for seated single leg extensions. Right leg long, left leg bent so the sole of your foot touches your inner thigh and you make the big toe connection, the center of the heel connection. This foot like it's connecting to a wall, and you can lift up and hinge forward. You might just be here with your hands on the floor. A lot of people will need a little softness under their knee or something holding under the knee that's bent. Perhaps you have a little more flexibility and you can reach with your hand or a strap to the baby toe side of your right foot with your left hand. See if you can bring your opposite hand to that foot. You might be just on the outside of the calf or the knee for today. Switch sides. As your body really lands this principle of accessing your toes to lift up, guess what? It gives you access to other poses like a handstand. When you can access the sense of big toe, center of the heel, even when you get the lift up that keeps the core stable in a handstand. So you've essentially been practicing handstands for almost an hour and a half. Good work. You didn't know that, huh, Damien? Don't actually have to be a handstand to practice the principles of one. 2 legs forward, seated forward fold. Seated forward fold. So where is the mound of your big toe here? The center of your heel here. Just press them into the imaginary floor that would be right here at the front of your mat. And then when you get that, the lift up goes from your arches to your pelvic floor. Feeling it, Nikki? To the crown of your head. Who knew all that was there? Release your feet. Reverse plank. Fingers point toward your butt and you lean back. Maybe you have to fan your hands out a little bit. Press your hands down, the knuckle of your thumb down. Lift your hips up. You got it. Super strong feet. When you have your hands pressing into the sand and hugging in and your feet sinking and hugging in, you've got your feet. Lift your right leg and lower it. This is so easy when you have all this. It's hard when you don't. One more each side. Sit down. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Hands to your hips, forearms on the ground. Press your hips and heels away from you. Stretch the side of your body long. Press your elbows into the mat and lift your chest up. Fish pose. Elbows into the mat, lift your chest. You got it. All the way through so the sides of your body are long. Then tuck your chin and roll onto your flat back. Roll your feet overhead for plow pose. You can lie flat on your back with your legs straight up in the air for waterfall if you prefer. You've got 2 choices right now. Well, you could take other inversions, but I'm offering 2 choices. You've got waterfall that looks like Philomena right here. Otherwise, you have plow. Plow, you're welcome to take into shoulder stand, but what I would suggest in your plow is understanding where the 4 corners of your feet are. So the center of each heel, your big toe mound. Yep, that works. Philomena says, lift your 10 toes here and spread your 10 toes. You could just imagine the walls behind you in your plow. Yeah. Big toe, center of the heel. Isn't that crazy? It takes all the suffocation out of it, or some of it. Couple more breaths. If you're in the plow, you could bring your knees beside your temples and hug and still keep your feet. Palms on the floor behind you for support. Or if you want to keep holding your hips to help you, roll out one bone at a time. So put some bone of your spine down and stretch your body long, and then the next bone and stretch long. All the way out until you can hug your knees into your chest. You're welcome. In. Here you go. Drop your knees to the left and look to the right. You're welcome. This is a great place to take a breath in and have a sigh, let go. Maybe you want to do that again. Inhale, exhale, and let go. Let yourself breathe easy. Come to the center, hug your knees, maybe even bring your forehead to your knees, then Supta Baddha Konasana. Do the other side? Other side. I was debating in my head whether we'd done the other side or not. Now Supta Baddha Konasana on your back, soles of your feet together, knees open wide. I know I have to move my hips in this pose a little more in the back toward my heels. So like butt cheeks toward the heels more to get more length in my lower back. Some of you may find you have to just work with your shoulders to get your shoulder blades on the mat. Now here in the studio, you have a cold eye towel. You're welcome to place it on your eyes, or at home, if it's cool in your room, maybe you need a blanket. You've done the work. Take a breath in. Open up your mouth, sigh, and let go of anything left. Maybe again, breath in, sigh, and let go. Then stretch your legs out long and wide for Shavasana, or deep rest. So get organized here. Be sure that your bones feel supported, that you truly can let go. Let yourself lie here and just be. Alert and aware, sensing all 5 of your senses, experiencing thoughts and emotions as they come up and pass by. Experience the ease of being. At any point, you can add another breath with a sigh if that gives you access to a deeper level of rest. Now you have nothing left to do. There's nothing to say, nothing to be. Just let go. Begin to deepen your breathing. Wiggle your fingers and your toes, or squeeze your toes and your hands together, ball them up, and then knees into your chest. Roll to your side. Bring yourself up into a sitting position. Make it comfortable. Then stretch your arms overhead and bring your hands to prayer position at the center of your chest. Now, this has been a journey into power. You've created a journey, breath by breath, pose by pose, into accessing a new space in your own personal power. Acknowledge yourself. And then from here, set an intention for the rest of your day from this space that you've created. And 3 times, we'll chant Om together. Take a breath in. Bring your thumb knuckles to the center of your forehead and inhale. Exhale. Namaste. Good work. Thank you all for being here. It was amazing to have you. Now, in 30 minutes, we begin a restorative class, like the opposite of what we just did here. We have about 5 poses in the length of a whole hour-long class that you hold with support of different props. If you'd like to check into that class, just take everything out of the room. We'll clean it all up in here. And when you come back, Philomena will be here to teach you. That's not a heated class. We call that the perfect Sunday morning. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.